It starts with a spark, a vision so clear, where voices unite. There's nothing to fear. Access meets opportunity. We pave the
Hello, and welcome to this edition of Speak Harmony. This edition of Speak Harmony is brought to you by our sponsor, Media Group. It's APAT Media. We're a full-service creative video and photo production company specializing in podcasting, multi-camera recording, and live streaming. You can contact us at info@apapmedia.com. We just want to say thank you again, APAT Media. We love you. Thank you so much. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You're in for a treat. Well, first up, we're going to go ahead and start with the gentleman that we have behind the scenes. We've got two amazing folks for you. The first one is one of the folks that you know, really. So, guys, I really would be remiss if I did not excuse my poor manners, my namesake, my beautiful my guest host. She's another Sharon, Dr. Sharon Reed, the Heart Lady. Goodness gracious, I was so anxious to get to our guest. Sharon is going to be co-hosting. This is my guest host, guys. Sharon, go ahead and a little bit about you real quick.
I don't want to take away our guest spotlight, but thank you for inviting me to be guest host. I'm Sharon, affectionately known as the Heart Lady, and I work with those who have relationship drama and emotional trauma. So if you want to know more, all you got to do is ask the Heart Lady.
Thank you so much. You heard it there. And now we're going to dive right into it. We're going to bring him on screen because he is none other than Newton County Tax Commissioner Brent Bennett from the amazing island, Trinidad. Okay, he's a Trinidad and Tobago, right? He's a Trini to the bone, to the core, and he'll tell you that too, the red, white, and black. Mr. Brent Bennett, he does a plethora of things, including soccer, because we just had a side note back here, chit-chatting a little before he came on screen. He's a soccer addict. He's played soccer. And please tell the folks that you're not only a tax commissioner, but you do other things. So you're a fun guy, right? You're just not one of those. Okay?
No, so, I'm a retired soccer player. That's what I was saying. Yeah, absolutely.
Who will kick your you-know-what if you get him on the field. I mean, so he took office back in January of 2025. He's a former Georgia DDS director. He's a former GA, right? Georgia DOR MVD director, that's Motor Vehicles Department. He's done it all. A former director of Metro County Tax Commissioner's Office, a 24-year Newton County resident. So he's been in this state of Georgia for a minute with his beautiful bride, another Trini to the bone. So they have amazing, beautiful boys, grown men. One is a soccer coach, a championship coach at that, soccer coach. And we could go on and on, but we're not going to bore you with everything. You could go research him because you'll find a plethora of stuff. We want to jump right in and talk to you about what is really the role of a tax commissioner. You're going to go ahead and share that with the folks, everyone listening, because a lot of people kind of sort of misconstrued it, and I didn't know who a tax commissioner was until later on, and I won't tell them when, but I found out via you. Okay, so tell them what's the role of a tax commissioner?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for having me, both Sharons. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you and your audience tonight. I love public speaking, and this has to be part of the job, and I really enjoy that. So to answer your question, what does a tax commissioner do in its simplest form, right? A tax commissioner bills, collects, and disperses taxes. That's what we do in general. So if you think about it, and we do motor vehicle administration, property tax administration, but that's a byproduct, right? So what we actually do is bill, collect, and disperse. I want to make sure people understand, we do not raise your taxes. We do not have the ability to do that. We are not part of the legislative process. We don't set millage rates. We have nothing to do with your valuation of your property. So if I could take 2 minutes and explain how this really works, right?
Please.
So you have the tax assessor's office, which is a county department. Um, they call it the appraisal department, the tax assessor's department. So every county in Georgia has that, all right? And their job is to set property values. Now, these people are governed, again, by almost by the Department of Revenue. They're trained, they have to have these appraisal licenses and so on and so forth. So when I listen and I watch Facebook and people say, oh, they're having it's a scam and they're doing all of this. They use property values, they use sales, they use a variety of things to come up with those values. They don't just put it out of thin air. Actually, I did a presentation recently with our local chief appraiser, and one of the things she suggested, and this across the board, if you have a home in Georgia and you think your property is too high, there's really only a 45-day window that you can appeal. And before I go off on a tangent, let me say this. That's the only part of the process that citizens has a direct hand in, is appealing their property value. Once the millage rate is set by the board of commissioners, you can't appeal anything beyond that. So for the people that are homeowners in Georgia, most of us within the last few weeks should have or may have received their assessment notices, right? And so that's the time. You have 45 days from the date of that assessment to look at it, see what your value was last year, which is on the document, see what the value is this year, and ask yourself, is my house worth that? Is it worth that? And that's the only time you can appeal. So if you let that 45-day window go by, whatever the millage rate is set, all we do at the tax commissioner's office is take that value, the millage rate, deduct any necessary exemptions you may have, such as a homestead exemption. If you're a senior like my parents that have a senior exemption, we deduct those exemptions and then we create that tax bill. That's what the tax commissioner does. Of course, most people were more popular from the standpoint of we do motor vehicle administration. So we are quote unquote the tag office where you would go to get your title or process a title to get a new license plate, to do your renewals. So that's what we do as well. So in essence, it's property tax and motor vehicle administration, but primarily to bill, collect, and disperse those taxes. I hope I answered that question thoroughly.
Yes, you did. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much. Mr. Bennett, when you say you deal with the property taxes, tell us, you said if it's too high. So what if we think it's too low? And also, if it is too high or too low, is it a way that we go online? How do we go and make that formal complaint? And also, what do we have to compare to know whether it's too high or too low?
Very, very, very good question. I'll tell you this: if it's too low, nobody's going to complain. Because what people don't, I have a one of the kids I used to coach. He came to my house tonight. He said, "Coach, my value went up 40,000. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I think it is good because I just bought the house last year. But I'm thinking it's bad because my taxes are going to rise." True and true. It's possible, right? But to your point, Sharon, or Dr. Sharon, I should say. If you go back in, I think it was 2010, 2008, when the economy went down, a lot of our values was suppressed, right?
Yes.
And then the counties had to do what? Offset it by raise their millage rates. Now we're going the opposite direction. The values are higher, so now we have to reduce the millage rates almost to level out the playing field. There's something, without getting too technical, there's something called a rollback rate. Basically what it is, it's what is the millage rate we're going to have to get to make the same amount of money that the county got last year when the values are higher. That's the rollback rate in its simplest form. So yeah, I think that nobody really complains when it's too low. So accept it for what it is, because ultimately it's about what your value is, what you can sell it for. Period. End of story. So to answer your other question, well, what if it's too high? How do we know what's around us? Well, if you think it's too low or too high, if you appeal, the tax assessors have to provide you with the data in which they came up with your assessment. So they will provide you with the sales around your house or in your neighborhood or whatever, because that's what really drives the values.
And how do we know what things are driving the values of the property down?
Well, again, it's the same thing. It's sales. It's basically sales and
You,
whatever it
you,
is. Now,
you're
sorry,
referring to sales of
in
homes in
your
the
area,
neighborhood? Because I'm
homes in your
refer.
area,
Okay.
right? Homes in your area. And I will admit, I am not an assessment expert. That is for the appraisal department, but I know enough to be dangerous and I could share with your audience. But I will tell you, if you feel that your value is too high, you can appeal. And I strongly urge you to do so.
Yes.
And once you do that, they can provide you the information to say, hey, these were the houses we compared your house to. But I'll give you one snippet. If you go on your tax assessor site, there's a site called Q Public, right? That's where the tax assessors have all their data. Look at the demographics of your property. That's super important. For example, your property, if your property has one extra bathroom, that's more value. If your property has one extra bedroom, that's more value. So let's say you have a 3-bed, 2-bath home, but the tax assessors have 4 bedrooms and 2 baths. You're being overassessed.
Got it. That's the answer to the questions
Yes.
that I was asking. Thank you.
Yeah. So people need to really
Interesting.
pay close attention to that.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I like that. You know what? I mean, you're educating us, sir. I know you have a PowerPoint, so you want to get
Yeah,
to
if I
that
can get into
PowerPoint.
that.
Yes, we can go ahead and pull that PowerPoint up so we can educate the folks watching. All right.
And I'll say, I'll get you to go through this pretty quickly. We already introduced me of who I
Right.
am.
You can just, yes. Where do you want
Next
to
slide
start?
talks about me and my history and where I came from. I need to go to the next one, please. Yeah. And so, I can barely see it, but that's where I talked about the role of the tax commissioner.
That is correct.
Where it shows, thank you, where it shows what we do is you see that bill, collect and disperse taxes, property administration, motor vehicle administration. And that's what I was saying, right? So, next slide. Right. So this is one thing I want to make clear, what we don't do. The tax commissioners do not set millage rates. That is the role of the Board of Commissioners. We are not responsible for setting property values. That is the role of the tax assessors, the tax appraisal department. And we certainly cannot increase or decrease your property taxes. So I see people complain all the time, the tax commissioners, we have no say. We are administrators rather than policymakers or legislators. Next slide, please. And so, as you guys know, I got elected in January, and there are some things that I'm aiming to do, right? I'm trying to enhance the customer experience, improving staff training. I'm trying to improve our communication, and I'm trying to do customer feedback. So those are the things I'm trying to do. Of course, I'm only 5 months in, but I could tell you one of the things that I did my very first day when I walked into office. We actually have 2 offices. We have an office, our main office is at 1113 Usher Street, which is downtown Covington, and we have a satellite office at 3612 Salem Road. And we had 2 offices, and we were closed for lunch for both of these offices. And so the first day I came into work, I said, okay, we're no longer closing the main office. So we are open 8 to 4:30 Monday through Friday through lunch. Now, our satellite office still goes to lunch, and the reason for that is we don't have enough staffing. I only have 3 people, and if somebody's out sick, it becomes a problem. So as soon as I can get an additional person or figure out the dynamics of having that, my goal is to open that office 100% as well, where we don't have a lunch break. So that's my goal, giving people more access to us. You go forward, and I'll talk about it.
And we thank you for that, by the way. We're grateful for that, because you know what? A closed office really doesn't work for people who have a set schedule. I mean, if you're going to go during your lunch hour, it may just conflict with the closing of that office. And so sometimes, what you're doing, I mean, that's amazing. That truly is amazing. So we appreciate that,
Well, we're going to be better. So like that graphic that you just had up, and I know you brought down a slide, and we handled like 89,000 customers last year. Most people don't realize, and I
Really?
can't see that great, but we are over 95% of customers within 30 minutes. Now you'll say, well, that's okay, and I agree, because my goal is for us to serve 98% of our customers within 20 minutes. That's our service level goal. We're not there yet, but that's where we're trying to go. So this graphic just shows where we were, and my next slides kind of show where we are today. You won't be able to see that well. What this shows you is really 55% of the people or thereabouts get served within 5 minutes. You would think that to
Really?
be, right? But literally 55% of our customers get served within 5 minutes. That's amazing.
5 minutes?
Yeah, within 5 minutes. They get called and they're served within 5 minutes. 55% of our customers.
All
That's
right.
interesting.
But there's like any other business, right? You have peaks and valleys, right?
Of course.
I would tell anybody listening today, avoid tag offices Mondays and Fridays, especially during lunchtime, and the last day of the month or first day of the month, because everybody thinks the same way. I got paid last day of the month. Let me go get my tag. It's Friday. I get paid. Let me run on my lunch hour. And you have that bottleneck. I don't care what county you go to, you tend to find that. Those are some natural things that you see across all tax commissioners' offices throughout the state. And I'll let you continue on to the slide. And I won't go into this in detail here because we only got like 15 minutes left. So keep going down and I'll show you some stuff that I'll keep going and I'll tell you when to stop. Keep going. These are just some transactions by month. This was out illustrating 30 minutes or less. And then next one's 20 minutes or less. So go right ahead. See 20 minutes. And there. So this is what I want to focus on, right? What we're doing, what I'm doing is I have, one of the things I'm doing is investing in my staff, whether that's the management training or technical training or customer service training. So I'm actually bringing in some trainers, a consultant to actually work on the customer service aspect. I'm bringing in experts to help with the technical aspects. And one of the things I realize is my leaders, my managers never really had people invest in them. So I'm bringing in, again, somebody that's a professional who's trained to help with leadership training. Because I don't care what anybody says, your managers drive the business. Right?
That is so
And
true.
your employees, I tell people, a trained workforce is the lifeblood of your organization. If your employees are trained well and they have good customer service skills, you're gonna win. And
Yes.
so that's what I need to do.
Yes.
All right.
That's
next
that's
slide.
that's critical. That's critical right there, and I like that.
Right, so we've actually enhanced our website. We have a lot more motor vehicle information out there. We have a Facebook page. You could look on Facebook for the Newton County Tax Commissioner. We're sharing a lot of details out there. And one of the things that was frustrating to me was while I was on the campaign trail, I was told, man, nobody answers the phone in that office, and I've taken that head on. And I can tell you, part of the issue is the phone system that we have, and we're looking. Matter of fact, I had a demo today with an updated phone system. Because once I fix that and I get an IVR, we'll be able to do so much better. But right now, I can assure you, when I first came into the office on that first day, I can tell you, and I can say this openly, we had 867 unanswered voicemails for the month of December. That's unacceptable for me. And I can tell you today, no call goes. If somebody leaves a voicemail, we return every single call by the end of the day. So I'm
Wow.
confident. I know we're very responsive.
Congratulations. I like to hear that. I like to hear that because
Yeah.
most times, people call entities, they call businesses, and they pray for someone to answer the phone.
I'm a true public servant. I work
Yes,
and
you
I
are.
want to support and I want to work for the people. I'm coming here to make it better. I have to make an impact. We're actually working on some customer service surveys. One of the things we want to do also with our phone system to get a customer satisfaction survey. All of that's in development. And again, people are shocked, and I know not everybody will agree with me on this, but don't be surprised if you call my office and I answer the phone.
Oh, wow.
That's who I
Of course.
am.
Well, that's
I lead by
impressive.
example. Yeah,
All
I answer the
right.
phone. People are shocked when they find out that I'm answering the phone. So, and I will tell you, we have a serious amount of collaborative efforts. I walked in and the tax assessor said, Brad, man, we have spoken to you more in 4 months than other people in 4 years. So
Oh, yeah.
there you go. And I'm very open with the school system. Like you guys, I work well, I collaborate well. As a former state motor vehicle director, I know most of the tax commissioners and I work well with them. So for me, it's about this. Other stakeholders such as yourself. I have another presentation to do on Thursday night with a subdivision in Covington because I make myself available to the people because that's who I represent and I work for them. So I want them to be educated on the process. So yeah, this is who I am and this is what I do. And we could end it here and then I'll let you guys ask me questions as you go. As you can see, I'm available to any HOA that wants to meet with me, any group. I'm willing. Just call me. I'm going to make myself available or one of my staff members available to come to meet with your organization.
All right. I see, Mr. Bennett, that one of your goals is to improve communication
Sure.
and social media presence. Why is that so important, social media presence, and what
Oh my
type of things
goodness.
can we look forward to seeing?
Well, what you're going to see from me is, right, so I just started it probably a month ago, because just so you understand, Dr. Sharon, we've got 18 people in my office, so it's really small. So we don't necessarily have all the skill set that I desire. Of course, I bring that to the table, so it takes time, my hands are stretched. But what you will see as we expand this social media presence is we're going to start running ads. So as we get closer to property tax deadline time, we're probably going to put out probably an ad to explain the property tax bill,
That's
how
good.
it is,
Yeah.
right? Communication, explain that. I'll be on video. I don't mind going on video and say, this is what your bill looks like. This is how you calculate it. I want to make it clear to people when they get their property tax bill, it's simplified for everybody to understand. Simple
Yeah.
math, right?
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
doing a lot more with that. And that's where I'm really, really wanting to do ads, social media ads. And we're going to do some geo-targeting. For example, another way, right? Right now, we know we have two offices. I mentioned we have our main office and a satellite. Our satellite office does less than 20% of the transaction. It's been open for probably 6 years. People don't even know it's there. So I have to do a better job of marketing the office by
Yes,
utilizing social media. Because we know what? That's where the young folks live.
that's correct.
And how do you intend to engage with the seniors?
So that's really interesting because this is where I said on my previous slide, I said, look, I have to get engaged with the seniors. The number one thing we see with seniors, right, is that we've got to get them to apply for senior exemptions. And again, my office does not do homestead exemptions. That's handled by the tax assessor's office. But our chief appraiser, our name is Marty Kennard, and I work very well together. We talked about doing some sort of platform. But the issue is we've got to get to like senior organizations that we can identify to explain how this stuff works. And so that's the challenge, right? What organizations can we go to say, hey, help me to help you, because I want to help people.
I don't know. I can probably think of that because I mean there are senior homes around, and the advocacy is necessary. So you know what you're doing is your track record is great, by the way, because I kind of sort of looked. I researched you. I looked you up, hunted you down. So I know a little bit about you, but honestly, it's called, and it's the biggest word, is collaboration. Getting to your seniors, like Dr. Reed said, getting to them, it's difficult, but it's not so difficult because what you have to do is do those town hall meetings. And I know over here in Gwinnett County, where I am, there's a particular city that I don't live in that city, but I attend their town hall meetings. Why? That particular leader is so effective. He brings out the mayor, he brings out the other elected officials, he brings out the police chief, and he brings those people together. So might I suggest that, kind of putting that out there, because you're one of the hardest working elected officials that I've seen. And you know what? Your commissioner, Newton County Commissioner, is another gentleman that busts his tail. He works
I know
real
what you're
hard.
referring to.
Right.
He
I
and
mean,
I had that conversation.
Yes.
And I told him whatever he had, Commissioner Mason's who you're referring
yes,
to.
that is correct.
And I've already told him the next time he has a town hall, invite me. I'll be happy to show up. Because we don't have, a lot of times the local county commissioners are, of course, they're district. I'm county-wide, right? So it's very difficult for me to identify that, but I can piggyback on that. And I've told the commissioners, you have a town hall, I'll show up. Whether it's in person, whether it's remote, whatever, and like I said, things that I've already done. Like I said, we've done the chief appraiser and I, we've done a series of videos for the county, and it's been on the county website to talk about HB 581, to talk about HB 92, because it has to be a collaborative effort. So most of it again is on the assessor side, And I don't know if you want to spend a few minutes talking about HB 581 while I broach that topic.
If you don't mind it, because we only got a couple of minutes left, but
I know
there
we
are
do.
folks who want to know what's HB. I mean, House Bill 581. What is the House Bill 92? What's that? What does that
I
entail?
think they call it the Savior Homes Act. But quite frankly, that's overstated. So, and I'll be honest, I understand the politics behind it, but it was really to cap assessments, because people were saying the assessments are going out of control, right? And if you guys remember this, there was a lot of brouhaha where some school systems opted out of HB 581 because you could either stay into it or you could opt out of it. And I know our local school district opted out of it, and there's a reason for that. I'm not here to defend them. The reason why is when you opt into that, right, it capped them at, so school systems have a 20 mil cap, right? And if you freeze the assessment and the assessments can't go up, at some point they're going to max out at their millage rate. And then what happens?
Yeah.
So that's what's part of the issue. Again, I'm not here to defend anybody. That is not my role. I'm going to stay in my lane. I'm just telling you that's probably one of the reasons why. And this is public. This is public
Information.
notice.
Yeah.
Everybody, all school boards said that. Our county, so the counties could have decided to stay in or out. And so our county in Newton County decided to stay in. However, they have the ability to increase the millage rate to offset any freeze. So it could get interesting. Now, the freeze only applies to homesteaded properties. So for people like me that have own a home and I live in Newton County, I have a homestead. So they're gonna cap whatever it is, and it can only go up no more than 3% in value per year, right? But again, the board has the ability to say, okay, we're not getting enough assessment, but we could raise the millage rate. So 6 in one and half others in the other. You're gonna have people that complain, because I was listening to our board budget meeting tonight, and people are gonna say, well, the school spending is out of control and this is out of control. Again, I am not here to defend those people, but I listen. I think people just say stuff, but if you go listen, they'll tell you why, right? They gotta keep pace in terms of salaries. Benefits are ridiculously expensive. All these things are happening around you. Shoot, we got tariffs, right?
Taxes.
Everything's more expensive. So everything's more expensive. So I don't get it. But anyway, I'm not a legislator. But that's the essence of HB 581. But the big thing for the citizens are, again, most people would have received an assessment notice or should receive it here shortly. The big thing is prior year assessment notices had last year's value, this year's value, and an estimated tax based on the prior year's millage rate. Or with HB 581, there's no longer an estimated tax amount. What you have is a rollback, an estimated rollback rate. Now remember, I gave a definition of what that rollback rate was. So then the counties have to say, okay, we estimate the rollback rate's going to be, so I know in Newton County we were 8.4 or 8.3 mils. And so they estimated at 10. If they come in and when they do all their budgeting and they comes in at less than 10 mils, fine. If it comes in more than 10 mils on that estimated, on the tax bill, my office has to put a statement that says, hey, this estimated rollback rate is higher than what you received on your assessment notice. But again, the issue is most people thought the estimated bill in prior estimated tax bill was actually a tax bill, but it wasn't, because the tax bills don't come out until August. So it's super confusing. So, I spoke to I don't know that they're going to get as many appeals. What I'm fearful of is people are not going to appeal. And then when the bills come out, it's going to be sticker shock. That's what I worry about from my perspective.
Right. Well, that's where you come in as far as keeping your goal as being very interactive and being very present and educating your constituencies so that they know exactly whether the benefits of opting in or opting out when such bills come out. So we want to thank you. Can I ask one last What do we people don't know or need to know, or a great tip other than don't go on Mondays and Fridays about the tax commission office? What is something that you can leave us with?
Oh man, got me on the spot there. I'm trying to think. Look, I would tell people this, right? Especially, I wish I could talk to new homeowners more than anything. Because I think when you buy a house, there is a role of the real estate agent, right? And
Yes.
depending on your agent, they're not going to tell you.
Of course.
Understand how the tax is collected. Understand how your escrow is done. I've seen people call me a year after they buy a home and their taxes are double because the prior owner had a senior exemption and they paid next to nothing in taxes, and now you're the new owner and it's double. I've seen that.
Yes.
So I would ask as much question if I were a new homeowner. I would call the tax commissioner's office and say, tell me what the taxes were last year, because it's not really hard. Escrow is taxes and insurance, and if you know what it is, you can kind of estimate. And I think that's where we see the biggest issue is when people don't act. For example, if your value goes up 60,000, right? If your value goes up $60,000, that's going to have an impact on your taxes. And when you have an impact on that taxes, what's going to happen the next year is your escrow is going to be short this year, and next year they're going to say, hey, remember that money we paid for you extra? We need that.
We need it.
And we're going to have to project also what you're going to pay this year. So yeah, your mortgage is going to go up $300. Most people can't afford that.
That's right.
So that's my tip, is understand the process.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Yes, that's an excellent question. And you know what? We're running over time, but I want to find out. The folks want to know, how can they contact you?
Sure. So we have an awesome website at newtoncountytax.com. We can be reached by phone at 770-784-2020. If you want to email us, you can email us at propertytax@newtoncountyga.gov or motor vehicles at newtoncountyga.gov. So we're available. I urge people to go to Facebook as well. Just search Facebook, Newton County Tax Commissioner. We're there. We're here for the people. And please don't hesitate to reach out to our office because we want to be customer friendly. We want to extend that arm and let people know that we're here to support them.
Thank you.
Man, we appreciate you. This is just so much information. You know, we thank you, sir. We really thank you for taking the time out of your busy day, because you were there from 7 a.m. this morning. Listen, we're releasing you. It's a full 12-hour plus
shift. Yeah.
You know.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing, sir. Have a good one.
Have a good one.
Wow, interesting, Doc.
Yeah, I learned some stuff. Because, it can be confusing. So
That's correct.
Just understanding and knowing that what the tax commissioner office is there for.
Yes. So we're going to go to a commercial break right now. We're going to take a break. And when we come right back, we have another very interesting guest coming up. So let's go. Wow. Welcome back to the last and final segment of Speak Harmony with our amazing special guest here with us.
Hi, Genoa. Welcome, hi, Genoa. Okay, so we're going to hear a little bit about this talented musician who was born in St. Thomas in Jamaica, right near the Blue Mountain region. And Genoa, he has come from a very talented family, musical as well, right?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, and you grew up listening to some great musicians there. I know many of us know Nina Simone and Gil Scott, and of course the Count Ossie and Burning Spear. So those were some of the music that you grew up and listened to, and Peter Tosh, absolutely, and culture, right? Well, good. What particular things out of those artists did you pick up, or why did they resonate with you?
They keep it real, they keep it natural and the spiritual element, to always raising the vibration, always teaching, these are some of the things. And it's a plethora of things that I could speak about, but they always bringing positive message.
And you would say that that's what you bring is positive music.
Always.
Why is that so important to you?
It is important because we're talking about frequencies, we're talking about, even the children, remember that, they learn the ABC by singing, all of the major corporations and all of the advertising use music. So music is an integral part of our reality as a people.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I know that that when you were one of your first performances was at the Jamaica's Agricultural Society. What made you pick Jimmy Cliff's music? It was one of my favorites. What made you decide on that?
I guess in hindsight, that reflects my journey. And it's I'm
Many
still
rivers to
crossing
cross.
rivers.
Yes,
And there are many more rivers to cross.
absolutely.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. And I know that going back a little bit in your history there, that you are a Garveyite, a proud Garveyite.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. I'm truly believe in doing for self and self-reliance.
Yeah.
So these are some of the things we could go on, but Garveyite.
All right.
He considers himself a chanter, a dub poet. I mean, for folks who are watching us right now, there are people who know, but then chanter. I mean, tell us more about that. I mean, who's a chanter? I mean, a dub poet, for those that don't know.
No.
Well, remember, each songs were poetry put to music, but the frequency that I kind of bring to the people and kind of tap into that frequency is always to heal, because music is very, very powerful, and the type of music that I do is really to heal, uplift, educate, and enlighten and empower people. So it's always about raising the vibration through the sonic frequency of music.
Absolutely. Consciousness. And I totally agree. Music is a healing. It's used as a therapy. I mean, if we tell anyone out there to close their eyes and just think of one of their favorite music, their whole body begins to move and you start to feel good.
Raising the vibration.
That's absolutely.
Can you imagine a world without music?
No.
Oh, I can't.
No.
I can't. Because, I mean, music is power. Dancing, music, I mean, they all go in unison. And I mean, I just couldn't see it.
Yeah, like you said, it moved.
Yes.
Especially the drums.
Yeah.
It's very pronounced in the foundation reggae music, percussions. It's at the earth vibration. That's where the drums, the congas, the repeaters, the frequencies synchronize with the universe.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's why you see people go in trances and
That's right.
all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And synchronizes with the heartbeat.
sure
I can't
does.
leave that out.
There
Absolutely.
you go. The heart lady's going to tell you about the heartbeat, So, I mean, you've got many, I would say, examples of folks that you looked up to, that were ahead of you, the Burning Spears, the Nina Simone, the Jill Scott, Gil
Peter
Scott,
Tosh.
and Peter Tosh.
The
Mystic revelation
Yes.
of
Count
Rastafari.
Ossie, yeah.
Yes, Count Ossie.
And the mystic revelation.
Did you ever at any point work with any of them, or shared stage with any of these folks?
No, but I've gone to many of their
Their
concerts.
concerts. Wow.
I've been to Peter Tosh concert. I've been to.
How old were you when you
I was
started?
in my early 20s.
Really?
When I've been to a concert in the National Stadium in Jamaica, and I could never forget that concert. That was the first time Peter Tosh performed after the breaking up of the Wailers. And everybody was there. The who's of who's in reggae music. Of course, Bob wasn't there, but, Peter Tosh was there. Sly and Robbie was back in Peter Tosh, was in Peter Tosh band at the time. Jimmy Cliff was there, Dennis Brown was there. You know, all the greats were there. And that concert starts in the nighttime, mind you, in a National Stadium. And the next morning, when the sun was up, the concert was still going on.
9 p.m. to 9 a.m.
Serious. The helicopter, JDF helicopter was flying over. I still vividly remember that concert. It rains that night too, and nobody's moved. Nobody moved from the stadium. The stadium was packed. I've never seen another concert like that in all my time going to concert. That is the best concert I've ever been. Because you're talking about the cream of the crop.
Of course.
Top of the top.
Of course.
All the top musician was there. Bunny Wailer was there. You know, Peter Tosh was there. Everybody was there.
How would you say music has changed since then? Because, I mean, we've evolved musically, you know, I mean, with our style of music. And growing up, we grew up in the same era. So we pretty much level up and we consider that conscious music. I don't want to say the music today is unconscious music. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. How would you compare them, if there's any comparison with what's happening today?
I don't know if I can draw a comparison, but I'm always gonna, you know, quote those who have blazed the trail and those who have opened the path for us. And Bunny Wailer said, there is no trunk, branches, leaf or root without the roots. So roots music stand predominate. It weather the storm, it stand the test of time. And if you know, there's an evolution is taking place.
Yes.
Because to be honest, from a lyrical standpoint, and I personally, most of the music now that's pushing the commercial music, I can feel it. And to me, to be honest and blunt, the lyrical content is less to be desired. You know, that's so, you know, that is just my opinion, and that's my opinion.
You know, I mean, you talk about frequency, and it's not raising the mindset to a consciousness of oneness and unity. And
you still have good music.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
You know, for whatever reason, you know, the forces out there, you know, because we are dual polarity. And the forces out there are pushing this low vibration free music and the lyrical content, you know. To me, in most cases, are very degrading, especially to women.
For women, yes.
You know, so I don't really tap into that type of frequency. Right. So, and that's the reason why I do what I do.
Yeah.
You know, to maintain the order. You know.
Okay. Brother Ajanoa, who would you like to collaborate with, living first, and then those who have already transitioned? Who would you have liked to, and who would you like?
I'm gonna say Peter Tosh.
I figured.
I'm gonna say Peter Tosh.
Yeah.
You know, because even in this time, Peter Tosh is way ahead of his time.
Yes. Yeah.
Musically.
Yes.
You know, lyrically. You know, he's a dynamic individual. I'm saying that his music is span the realms of time. Yeah. You know, and it is not a lot, to be honest, there's not a lot of people in the business right now is even at the level at Peter Tosh. So I have a lot to strive for.
Yeah. Is there anyone that you would think to collaborate with?
Yes. There's quite a few people that I would like to work with in the future, and I'm putting out in the universe. There's an artist in Virgin Islands, a sister, an empress. She was at the Marcus Garvey tribute and a few weeks ago, Rima.
I really
like her.
Yes.
I really like. She's solid.
Yeah.
You know, she's really solid. I would like to do something with Queen Africa.
Yes.
Yes, that's my art.
Yes.
I really like her.
Yeah,
she's not in my bio, but I really like Queen Africa.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
You know,
that's really interesting because, you know, you said frequencies. You said a lot. You said the frequency, the vibration.
This music in its
mentoring,
totality.
of course.
Yeah.
But mentoring, I mean, is something that I always say. I in my mind, it brings us back to center, because our generation, we have to make the future. We're creatives of the future. We're the ones that are creating the future. So we have, I don't want to say limited time. Time is not limited. It's up to us to change certain things, and we have But we have to mentor, and we have to bring them into the fold. So it's incumbent on us, would you say, Doc, that we sort of speak to the to the forces that are out there and sort of push back on them and sort of raise the vibration by what we do, because we can't be outnumbered. Positivity, there's no way light can be compete. You can't compete with light.
Light.
And we are the light. So we
light
have
is
to
a
be
indeed, light is a universal force.
That's it.
And you know, they will do what they do, but you know, the truth always prevail, righteousness always prevail. You know, and the truth don't need validation. So we always have to try. One of my elder that I respect so much, very profound musicians, he used to play with culture. He's a founding member of Light Parks and We the People. One of Buju's biggest song was arranged by him. His name is Dennis Farron. We call him Jadi. He say, always try every day to live an impeccable life. It's not easy in this world of so much chaos and confusion, deliberate chaos and confusion. But we always have to try like I say, try to stay on center.
Yes.
You know, the balance. You know, if you hear one of the single that I put out, Natural Way, Man, Woman, and Child, the Holy Trinity is a natural way. We have to try our best to maintain that universal balance.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
And it's not impossible. It's not impossible because a lot of us are, you know, at our stage, you know, of liberty, we tend to say, well, you know, it's the new age, and but we can't just give in to it. You know what I'm saying? We have to, as there's a saying out there, it says, fight the power.
Yeah.
And so we have to push back when those forces, those crazy forces say, well, you know, it's the time, and the young people are going to do what they do. But who's paying for that? Who started that? So just like in our house, we can't, our children say, well, Mom, Dad, you know, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. You're the boss of that house. You're in charge.
Yeah.
So you have to set the standards. Am I correct?
We can set the standards, and you know, we do move forward. But you know, with our two guests, what they have done is setting their example. They are showing by example. And you know, during this time, it's a shift in consciousness. It's a different generation, yes, but it's a shift in consciousness. And so we are obligated to move forward and continue to be the example.
Yes.
That's all we can do. We can't force people to change and make people change, but
some-
we have to be the ones to still be the light bearers.
Standard. There you
Yeah,
go.
someone
That's
says
it.
you don't curse the dirty glass, but you put a clean glass beside the dirty glass.
Yes. Yeah.
And let someone, but some people will still see it and be confused and don't know what they're looking at.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. So, you know, it's a serious dynamics,
Yeah.
but we have to keep on living our truth, staying within our circle.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
it's a perpetual
Keep
motion.
shining.
Yeah,
Yeah, and keep
absolutely.
shining.
Keep shining that light.
And in your music as well, you promote a lot of health and wellness.
Yes,
That's important to you.
Yes, indeed. I used to do that. Of course, you know, I used to do that festival. And I know what I was getting into because in my personal family, I really don't smoke and drink, but I've seen the devastation of the effect of alcohol and drugs in my family,
Yes.
my personal family.
Yeah.
And I was growing up with my grandmother and my grandfather. My grandfather lived until he was way in his 90s, and he never smoked and he never drank. So I guess it's for me, it's natural that I just naturally follow that path, and I'm glad I did. You know, we know we have to deal with the food and the chemical and the pesticide and the herbicides and all of that. But, you know, your health is your wealth and you're what you eat. So I don't know why they push, you know, alcohol and drugs. So anyway, health and wellness is an event that we do for many years, like 7 years straight, I think. And I had to take a break because that type of event, you're not going to get a lot of sponsors and corporate sponsors. So I was just basically doing it by myself financially,
Yeah.
you know, so I had to take a break. But people still asking for it,
Yeah.
like when you're going to bring back
When you
health
gonna-
and wellness. But I do another event since 2017 that is like an outgrowth of, which is easier to do, which is CRC. But when you really check out CRC, it's basically the same event, you know, because I did it.
And where's this event being
Well,
held?
we
And
started
what time
it
of
in
year?
2017 here in Atlanta, but last year we took it to Jamaica for the first time.
And what the
Right.
CRC
What the
stand
CRC?
for?
Conscious Reggae Concert Series and CRC, and yeah, it's a brand. And the theme last year on that, we're going to be keeping that theme for a long time, Family Unity Fest.
Yeah.
Because we know that the family,
Of course.
Yeah.
That's critical.
the family is under attack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I
You
appreciate love the fact that that you talked about the mother, the father, and the Trinity of
Yeah.
the
Yeah, the
children.
mother, the father.
And
yeah.
then you also said that one of your collaborations will be with Sister Rima or Queen. I forgot. including the women too.
Yes.
How are you feeling about that? A lot of the women are not, the sisters are not being promoted as much as the brethren. Then.
Well, it's our responsibility. It's my responsibility to, to bring the sisters up, because the mother is the first teacher. And they always try to get to the mother first.
Yeah.
And a house divided among itself can't stand. So they know what they're doing. This is war on the family, war on us as a people, the original people. And my weapon is the music. So I'm always gonna
swipe
Yes.
That's
it at
right.
them.
That's right. So give thanks. So
My pen
and
is my weapon.
tell us some of the things that you have going on.
Well, I have a lot going on right now. Been all this time, it's only been smothering, but sometimes it flares up. I was called for a very big concert. I think I have the flyer here. On Father's Day, in here in Georgia. Yeah, the One Love concert. I'm not physically, I'm not on the flyer, but I'm the opening act for that.
Yeah.
That is Father at the Maple House Amphitheater. And
Quite a lineup, I see.
yeah, big lineup.
Quite a big lineup.
Big
the Maxi
lineup.
Priest, the Luciana, Inner Circle,
Inner Tana.
Tana,
Yeah.
Anthony Malvo, to name a few.
To
Yes.
name a few.
Yeah.
I mean, Ija Noah. I mean,
And
to
Brock.
open up. You know what I mean? I love that. But
Yeah.
you're doing some other stuff around
Yes,
Atlanta
and,
too. Talk
yes,
about that.
I'm in the semi-final of the GII FSC.
All right.
What was launched right here, right?
And what is that? Congratulations.
Yeah,
What's that? The Jamaica International
International
Independence Foreign Song Competition.
Competition, yeah.
A finalist.
And yeah,
Big
my
up.
song, and I hope everyone go to that and to the website and vote for the song Yardi.
Okay. Tell
Yeah,
us the website again.
GIIFSC.com.
.com. That's
You know.
it.
Yeah, we'll post that up for
And
you
that
all.
is my song. You see my picture. All the contestants' pictures are up there. You don't go all the way down to the bottom and check the box. Appreciate and everyone vote for Yardi. Are the best. We are the best.
All right.
Nice. Can you give us a little bossa tuna, man? While I can do that like a acapella. Hook us up, man. Hook us up,
I
brethren.
think technical supervisor over there, the big man. I think they got it in the archive. They could play a piece for you.
Fit a little piece of
Give
it.
us a little taste of it
Yeah,
so the
and,
folks can hear you.
Yes,
Like a bit of it.
and we have CRC coming up in Jamaica. And the
What time of
12th
year is that and where's that going to be?
And it's in St. Ann, Marcus Garvey Parish, Droxal St. Ann, at the Droxal Sports Complex. We have a very impressive
when is that?
lineup. July 12th.
Nice.
Yeah, very
Nice.
impressive lineup. Myself, this is the lineup right here. Myself,
Cool.
Abyssinians is on it.
Oh.
Hero is on it. We have
Cool.
quite a few big artists is on it. You see.
Russ Igel. I mean, yeah,
used to live here in
Igel.
Atlanta.
Empress. Okay,
Empress
okay.
Aisha, yeah. Aisha Bell.
Yeah, I should-
Empress
See
Aisha
that.
Bell.
Andrew Mystic,
Yes.
aka PZ.
Yeah.
Man, this is quite a lineup.
Yeah, yes, a very
There's just
good
so much
lineup.
going
Conscious
on right
artists,
now.
artists.
Consciousness,
all
yes.
conscious
Yeah,
artists,
and it's a family event. It starts at noon and go till midnight. And we have bounce about and we
Family style.
I know this is something that and it's very dear to me. A lot of people don't know I'm serious about farming and agriculture. And
Yes.
our main speaker on the 12th is going to be the farmer head of RADA, which is used to be Ministry of Agriculture, and the JAS and the 4-H. He's now retired. He just finished his term just last year. Mr. Lenworth Fulton is going to speak on food sovereignty and food security, which is a big thing for me.
Yeah.
Because if
That's
you
a
go to
big thing.
Jamaica and see, we have an epidemic in Jamaica now with obesity.
Yes.
You know,
That's a pandemic. if
the
you ask
Western
me.
diet.
Yes.
And the drinking and the
Yeah,
smoking
smoking,
and
yeah.
the people just running wild.
Yeah.
So we have to have a CRC. It is important that we do
Yeah.
that.
Well,
It
look
makes
at
no
that.
sense we complain, this and this. And,
No,
and
we have to
that.
do something about it.
We have to do something.
Yeah.
We are the one that we have been waiting
Yeah.
on.
Yeah,
So we have to do
absolutely.
what we have to do.
I love
Yeah,
that.
so give thanks. You're inspiring people, through
Yeah.
uplifting them through your music, through the drum beats, sending
Yeah.
the message out,
Yes.
and then you're also connecting that with
Health.
people's nutrition, how
Yes.
they
It's
take care of
important.
themselves.
It's important. We
yeah,
are what
because
we
they
eat.
go together.
We are what we eat, what we listen
That's
to.
it.
In our subconscious and our conscious mind, and
Yeah.
what we eat.
Yeah.
We are what we eat. If you eat junk, then you might not feel it right this minute. You know, but we have to go back to the land because, like Marcus Garvey
Yes.
said, people without a land are a powerless people.
Yes,
So
sir.
we have to go back to the land. Nothing is wrong with it.
Yeah.
You know, because some people think food come from supermarket. I've spoken to some
From the
people,
labs.
You know, well, they're making lab food right now.
Are you mentoring some younger ones in the farming industry?
Well-
Are you finding any interest?
Yes, we're talking to some people in Jamaica. 'Cause I just came back from Jamaica a few weeks ago, and we're talking about. That's the reason why we have someone at CRC going to speak on agriculture and farming and the importance of eating what you plant and planting what
Yes,
you eat.
yes.
You know, that is very crucial because I've seen an epidemic.
Yeah.
I've seen the obesity. I've seen the people, they're just big like this, and it's like, man, what is going on?
Yeah.
You know, and Jamaica is being proliferated with a lot of fast food now. All their fast food from America. Like
Yeah.
when I go to Jamaica and see some fast, like, what?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's a big deal. I mean, the kids don't want to eat the callaloo and the cabbage and the bok choy
homegrown,
and
yeah.
the good stuff,
Nobody
farm
don't
to
wanna
table.
cook
Everybody
anymore,
want it
and
now.
you can see, and it's gonna be a serious
KFC
fallout.
and the
It make
Pizza
no
Hut and
sense
the whole of
We
that.
talk about it and not do something about it, because it's gonna be a catastrophe
Yeah.
if we don't do something about it.
Yeah.
The music and the food go together. Food and music go to. It's food, clothes, and shelter.
That's right.
Yeah, and
I
these
love,
yeah.
I love it. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, that you're emphasizing, you're teaching that. You know, the consciousness. We need to get back to basics, though.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's,
Yeah, well, you know,
starts in-
it's
it starts in the
cyclical.
house.
It goes around and comes around.
Yes.
It's always gonna survive it. You know.
Yeah. And that is the key and things that we need to be teaching
Yes,
the
the
youth.
youth.
And they're so caught up in the artificial intelligence and on their on the other side of technology, which is great. It has its place.
oh yeah.
Yes.
But the foundation has to be firm.
Absolutely.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
So you can't have a healthy mind, a healthy body if you don't eat healthy, and if you don't
Think
raise your
he- think
vibration
healthy.
by healthy music.
You know,
right?
one of the I remember years ago in the 70s when I used to work for the government. There's a Dr. Inkling. You might have known of him. He wrote a paper and presented to the government in Jamaica years ago about mental illness
Yeah.
in Jamaica, that we are a damaged people and we have not recovered from the trauma
Yeah.
that we have gone through. And a lot of people, you know, like push it aside and discard it and all of that. And now one of the biggest talk in Jamaica is mental illness.
That's
It's
right.
not
Right
fair.
here in the United States.
Oh yeah.
You know, I
And
had
that, and you connect that to the food.
well because food can determine your mood.
Oh yeah.
You're the doctor
Totally.
speaking.
To-
I've
totally.
said my piece.
Yes.
I've
yes.
said my piece.
You are what you
it's,
eat.
and it's deliberate.
You know. Yes.
Yeah.
It's no accident that they're forcing the people to eat junk.
Yes.
There's a lot of processed food, right? There's a lot of chemicals that goes into these foods, and a lot of mind-altering chemical, and it's by design. Fluoride in the water,
Yeah.
Fluoride in your toothpaste.
fluoride in the toothpaste.
Don't
know.
let us get
So
started.
yeah, so it's you know how it is,
Yes.
and we don't want to get too
Educate.
political.
Yeah, we get.
Well, we're
but
not-
you know,
educate.
but the fact is that you know if a confused mind, you know, they can control that, and so
Yeah.
we are here to break that chain
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
and to continue teaching and being the
Absolutely,
example
absolutely.
of eating
Change.
well.
Of course.
You know, like
Positive change.
Like Peter Todd say, time of booty shaking and get down is, if shake your booty is over with.
Yeah.
You know, the enemy has declared war on us, and they use our music and our culture and our food against us.
Yeah.
You know, there's a U.S. government memorandum. I don't want to, we don't get too nervous. There's a U.S. memorandum where the former Secretary of State, Henry Kissinger, said they were going to use food as a weapon to depopulate the third world.
Yeah.
You know, it's there. It's
I mean, they've
it's
done that, and
declassified.
they've even gone as
You know.
far as saying putting things in the water, and
Yeah.
we
yeah.
don't live
Controlling
without
water.
water.
So-
So yeah,
Controlling the water. That's
Thank-
why there's a
It's
monopoly
war
on that. We
against the-
appreciate
war
you
against the
though.
righteous. So,
yeah.
Really appreciate your love. You know.
yeah.
All right, so let me put you on the spot. I like to do that. What would you say is one of your most favorite music that you have produced?
Natural way.
Why? And what inspired that?
The force is constantly trying to separate and break up the black family. and family in general. So that song, the video is on YouTube. You can look it up. Natural Way. You know, man, woman, and
Look it up.
child is a natural way.
All right.
You know.
Give thanks for that. And we'll look forward to seeing you at the One Love concert,
Yes,
Father's Day concert on June the 15th at Mabel House Amphitheater.
Yes.
It's 5739 Floyd Road Street, Mableton, Georgia.
Yeah.
And you will be among some of the very famous Max Dupree and Luciano and Inner Circle, Itana, Anthony Malvo, and the one and only Ijanoa.
And Brap.
Brap, brap.
Rob, there you go. And then family
And you can
unity.
check out my website at www.ijanoa, Patwa, not A-N-D, anbrap.com.
Okay.
www.ijanoaandbrap.com. And it will take you to all the different social
And
media.
Ijanoa is spelled I, the letter I,
Yeah.
Jahknowah.
Yes.
Look him up.
That's right.
I have
You'll
a
find him.
lot of videos on YouTube.
That's
Absolutely. That's the man. So you can go ahead and vote for him too.
Yes,
That's
please.
right. That's right.
right.
Semi-finalists.
So
We're moving
semi-finalists.
on up.
Hey.
Yes,
So
vote-
we're
vote
asking
for-
all the listeners to
vote
make
for
sure
Yadi,
they check in.
Yadi and the JIFC
Yes.
website.
Yes. And you know what? We just want to say, I mean, this is amazing. This is
Yes,
great.
give
Thank
thanks.
you for
It's an
that.
honor.
Yes, it's
Yes,
been a
yes.
blessing. Like, subscribe, and share. Make sure you do that now.
Yes.
You know, we just want to thank you, Sister Dr. Sharon Reed, for coming through.
Yes.
Look, it's always a pleasure having her. She is filled with information, with knowledge,
Yeah,
and I
we-
look up to my
yes,
sister.
Oh, give
I
thanks, give
appreciate
Come
you.
full circle.
Appreciate it. Full
This
circle.
is
Yes.
one of the family I met when I came from Chicago in the 90s.
Long time.
Long,
Yes,
long,
right.
long time.
Yeah.
Wow. See that? Full circle. Full circle. So on that note, we thank you again, for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and share. Speak Harmony. APAT Media in the house.
On the right.
Thank you.
On the rise.
Yes, indeed. Man from the-
Yadi. There you go. Ijanoa.
Yadi are the best, we are the best, we are the best. Yadi are the best, I said we pass all tests. Yadi are the best, we no take no check. Come and say flex them yardie. We say we hold them yardie. Yadi are the ones we know the golden rule. Yadi are the ones we hard for food. Yadi are the ones we no take no mess. Yadi are the ones we stood all tests. Come and say flex them yardie. We say fi hold them yardie. We say fi flex them yardie. We say fi hold them yardie. Yeah, 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 yardie. Yeah, 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 yardie. Yeah, 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 yardie. Yeah, 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 yardie. Yardie praise the one, the most high one. We are the hopeful one. I said the hopeful one, spanning the globe all over the world. Anywhere you go, you know, say Yardie will be there, standing firm and tall. I say we bold and strong. Yardie love the one and each and every one, but no mess with no Yardie. We say no play with no Yardie. We say no mess with no Yardie. We say no play with no Yardie. Yeah, 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 Yardie. Yeah, 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 Yardie. Yeah, 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 Yardie. Yardie, Yardie are the ones we are no one's true. Yardie are the ones we ain't no fool. Yardie are the ones we are the best. Yardie are the ones we pass the test. And Mr. Flex them Yardie. We say we hold them Yardie. Then put us down, say we bounce right back. Cause we rough and ready man, we versatile. We tougher than tough.